Episode 10, Ashes of the Fallen. The swamp was eerily quiet after the final confrontation. The Reaper King's body was still sprawled out in the dirt, blood staining the ground beneath him as his men scattered like cockroaches, fleeing into the night. The fire had burned out, leaving only smoldering ruins of what had once been the Mapogo stronghold. Lion stood alone among the wreckage, his fists clenched as he looked at the body of the Reaper King. The swamp had claimed another soul, but it had also taken something from him. The victory felt hollow. Each life lost was a price paid in full, and the toll on his brothers weighed heavily on him. "Lion, we need to move," Panther said, his voice grim as he approached, dragging a wounded turtle behind him. Lion nodded, but didn't speak. The Reapers had been a dangerous enemy, but they were not the real threat. The danger was the aftermath, the vacuum of power that would form in the wake of the Reapers' downfall. In the chaotic underworld of South Louisiana, when one predator fell, another was always ready to rise. "We can't stay here," Panther continued. "The others will be back soon." "I know," Lion replied. His voice was cold, but not tonight. Kane had always been the strategist of the group. He was the quiet one, the thinker who never rushed into a fight without weighing all the options first. His background was a mystery to most of the Mapogo. He didn't talk much about his past, but those who knew him well knew that his mind had been forged in war. Before joining the Mapogo, Kane had been an intelligence officer in the army, stationed in various conflict zones around the world. He had seen the brutality of war firsthand and learned to navigate the web of lies and deception that ran through every operation. His ability to plan, predict, and outthink his enemies made him an invaluable asset to the Mapogo. But Kane had come back from those wars a different man, one whose distrust of the system ran deep. He saw the world in terms of power dynamics, where every ally was a potential threat, and every victory was a fleeting moment before the next war began. The scar on his arm, a jagged reminder of a skirmish in the Middle East, was the only physical mark of the man who had lived through years of conflict. He had made peace with the violence in his past, but the toll it had taken on him was evident in the way he carried himself, always calculating, always waiting for the next storm. The real enemy. As the brothers regrouped at their new safe house, deep in the bayou, the weight of what had happened began to sink in. The Reapers were gone, but they weren't the true enemy. The swamp had always been a place of lawlessness, a place where power was seized and held by force. And in the absence of the Reapers, new predators would soon make their move. "We've won the battle, but we haven't won the war," Kane said, standing at the head of the table where the brothers gathered. "What you talking about?" Rhino growled, sitting back with a frown. "We wiped out the Reapers. We ended the biggest threat to this place." Kane's expression didn't change. The Reapers were just the beginning. There's a bigger game being played here, and it's not just about gangs and power. It's about control. Whoever takes over the Reapers' operation will be the one who controls the future of this swamp and the entire region. Lion looked out the window, his eyes narrowing as he thought about the implications of Kane's words. The swamp was a place of endless opportunities for those who knew how to exploit it, and whoever filled the void left by the Reapers would be a dangerous force to reckon with. "We need to find out who's moving in on the Reapers' turf," Lion said, finally speaking up, "and we need to be ready for them." A new threat emerges. As the Mapogo brothers dug deeper into the power vacuum left by the Reapers, they discovered a disturbing trend. The lawlessness of the swamp wasn't something that could easily be controlled. New players were already moving in, smaller gangs, mercenaries, and powerful individuals with connections stretching far beyond the bayou. One name kept resurfacing, the Harbinger. No one knew who this mysterious figure was, but the whispers in the underworld were enough to send chills down anyone's spine. The Harbinger wasn't just a criminal. He, or she, was an orchestrator, a puppet master pulling strings and positioning forces like chess pieces. The Harbinger had no loyalty to anyone, only a singular desire for dominance, and the Mapogo were in their crosshairs. The brothers spent days tracking down leads, piecing together fragments of information that didn't make sense. Who was the Harbinger, and what did they want with the Mapogo? But the answers they sought remained elusive. In the swamp, Everything was buried beneath layers of secrets and lies, and every revelation only led to more questions. The betrayal. Just when it seemed like they were making progress, the Mapogo received a devastating blow. Rhino was the first to sense it. A sudden shift in the air, a feeling that something was off. It was too quiet. "Where's Vulture?" Rhino asked, turning toward the others. Vulture had been quiet for the last few days, but that was nothing new. The brothers had learned to let him keep his distance when needed. But now something felt wrong. Lion stood up, his hand instinctively going to the gun at his side. "He's not here. We need to find him." The brothers searched the safe house, but it was clear that Vulture was gone. His things were missing, and there was a trail of blood leading out the back door. "Vulture's gone rogue," Turtle said, his voice thick with disbelief. "He's the one who sold us out." The realization hit them like a ton of bricks. Vulture, the brother they trusted, had betrayed them. But why? Vulture, born Julien Boudreau, had always been the quiet, mysterious brother. His past was shrouded in secrecy. He didn't talk about where he'd been or what he'd done before joining the Mapogo. But it was known that he had a temper, and when he was pushed, he would do anything to get what he wanted. The scar running down Vulture's left arm was a reminder of the cost of his past life, a life filled with violence and anger. But when he joined the Mapogo, it seemed like he had found a place to belong, a place where his skills in combat and survival could be used for a purpose. But something changed in him after the Reapers were defeated. The bloodshed, the power, the loyalty, it all seemed to fade. Vulture had seen too much, done too much. He had started to question everything, including his brothers. And when the Harbinger's name came up, it was clear that something had pulled him in. Now, he was working for them. The chase. The brothers wasted no time. They hit the streets, following every lead they could find. Their quarry was Vulture, and they knew that once he fell into the grasp of the Harbinger, he was lost to them forever. Lion's heart was heavy. He had never imagined one of his own brothers would turn on them. But no matter the cost, the Mapogo had to survive.